We're gonna start off with a bang. I find that so strange.
This is the only thing you need to remember for a newborn.
All right, this one might ruffle some feathers, but I'm gonna say it.
It was an massacre.
Coming from somebody who did not formally sleep train their baby. There are arguably 10,000 things that I should be doing during Annie's first nap right now on a random Tuesday, but I'm way too excited about this. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's literally perfect. Look at you guys. It literally is more perfect in person than in her preview photos that I saw on Instagram. If you guys missed the vlog where I made sure I was in line to order this local company, their name is Salt and Pine Co. They are handmade in Maine. That's their logo right there. And she's doing this series, it's limited to 10 slots a month, where she takes your baby's onesie of choice and embroiders it on a sweatshirt. I'm so excited. So the one that I chose was just very Annie as far as the colors that she's been wearing that we've picked for her nursery, and more importantly, this was her going home onesie and the onesie that she had on during her newborn photos. So to have it in a sweatshirt, like, I can't think of a better, oh my gosh, way to forever have that onesie in a sweatshirt. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I got a comment recently. I was asking about my favorite nursing bras. I've got a couple different favorites. This one is from Target. It's so good, no fuss. It comes in a 2-pack, and I have 2-packs, so I have 4 of these. I wore them in the hospital, and I've been wearing them ever since. They're so great. I feel like they're pretty supportive without having padding or clips or anything like that, and they're just one of those like pull down ones. So good. And then honestly, anything from Bodily. Anything from Bodily. I do have a discount code with them. I don't know how long it's working, but I'll leave it down below in case you guys want to use it. But they're everything bra. They're all in one. Like, I wear those as well. They're so good and very soft. Oh my gosh, it's perfect. I got an XL so that I could wear it with leggings, because it can go down like all the way like this, or I can like scrunch it up if I'm wearing sweatpants. Oh my gosh. It was a little nerve-wracking, like sending such an important piece of clothing to somebody to, you know, like chop up and make into a sweatshirt, and she said to send a backup just in case she needs to use that, and that made me nervous. It's obviously understandable, like if you're doing any sort of craft or anything like that, there is human error, and I would have been totally fine, but I was like, sending off such a special piece, and to trust her with it, I'm so glad I did. The sage sweatshirt color that we went with is honestly so perfect. Oh my gosh, she sent back the remains. That's really cute. Look. Oh, she didn't have to do that. She literally used the whole middle part, and she kept the footies. I'm actually really happy she sent back that. We are treating it as my first Mother's Day sweatshirt. Oh my gosh, I forgot. She includes in the price a custom embroidered name on the sleeve. Oh my gosh, I would have totally forgotten until I saw that. Look! Oh, it's Annie's sweatshirt. It's so cute. Let's go show Jack.
Oh, you got it.
I did.
It looks so good. Yeah. Oh,
Look
that's
at
so
that.
cute. It's her little outfit.
Yeah, she did amazing.
That's so good.
Are you ready?
Do you love it?
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh, and Annie's on your sleeve. Oh, come here. Do you love it?
I do, baby.
Happy Mother's Day.
How are we in the frame? Pretty good?
Centered?
I think so. Bub,
Yes.
now that we have been parents for 5 months, I thought that we are more than qualified to give our parenting hot takes, because we have been parents for 5 months now.
Oh, is it time? Is it now the part where we become those people who are like, just
you
wait?
should do that. You should do this.
Just wait. Just wait.
I've been keeping a few things in mind along the way of just this 5 months. I might change my mind on these things. He might change his mind on these things, but I thought that we could just spew either some learnings or things that we have now learned and are going to take into our parenting journey in general, just in the first 5 months. Random things we've learned. Some of them might be considered hot takes, but some of them are just like, this is what we have now come to realize as parents to a 5-month-old.
Warm takes.
Warm takes. These are parenting warm takes. Like I said, some of these might be considered hot takes or slightly controversial, but in this space, we just respect other people's opinions and what works for them in their household. So if you can't respectfully do that, this might not be the segment for you guys.
Just wait.
Saying, I don't know how to say this first one actually. We're gonna start off with a bang. Okay.
Oh man, how spicy is this?
It's not really that spicy, but some people have a really strong opinion about this.
Okay.
Personally, for me, it's not what you think. So, like, part 2 to this is very important, okay? When people said that Annie, when she was first born, was a carbon copy of Jack, it actually bothered me a lot. I didn't think it was going to. Because when we talked about when we were pregnant and what she was going to look like, I was like, I hope she looks like you. You were an adorable baby. Like, I genuinely thought that she was going to look like him. I was going to love it, you know, like, whatever. And I would have loved it. But the thing is, this baby came out my twin.
Yeah.
And I didn't even see it at first. I was like, she must be a mix because I am not seeing like either of us. Plus a newborn baby just looks very different in the first few days. But she was like genuinely, when we put up a picture of me at her age and a picture of her, same baby.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It was like, wow, I thought we did IVF, not cloning.
Literally.
Is that why it was so expensive?
And then the thing is, everybody in real life was saying the same thing. They were like, she is a carbon copy of you. She is this. And then everyone online, when we started showing our birth experience, talking about it and showing like little pictures and stuff, they were like, she's your twin. Like, oh my
100%.
gosh, like copy paste Max. So when people decided to like say, sorry, I just see only Jack. Or, sorry, mom looks like her dad. It's not that she looked like her dad. That's not the point. It was the people that almost wanted to, like, hurt my feelings by saying that she looked like you when she legitimately was my twin. It was the intention behind those comments. I was like, it was just weird.
They were like...
Yeah, like poking at it or just like almost wanting to see how I would react by saying she looked like Jack. And the thing is, as she's gotten older, she's Jack's twin right now. She started off as my
She does
twin.
look a lot like me.
She looks so much like Jack and I love it. I'm literally like, hey Jack, like, hey dad's twin, like you are for sure him. So I think err on the side, if you're gonna say anything about who the baby looks like, if you really think that the baby is like the husband's twin, just err on the side of, oh my gosh, your baby is a perfect combination of you both. You can't lose by saying that to a new mom, okay? Just err on that side.
Yeah, just have the awareness to be gentle. That mama just pushed out this little child and went through hell and back.
Yes.
While dad maybe missed a snack time during that.
That is not all you do.
But seriously, it's a kindness thing.
It's a kindness thing. It's a self-awareness and kindness thing.
Yeah, let's touch on this. So at a certain point, I started asking dads, like, any advice they have. And a lot of the advice I got was said with dad humor, which, looking back now, I really appreciate, and it kind of emphasizes this thing. And so takeaway as a parent is not to sweat the small stuff. 2 tidbits of advice stick out to me in particular, and one is a really good friend and coworker who said, this is the only thing you need to remember for a newborn. It's funny because it comes from a computer geek, and you'll appreciate this. Input, output, thermals. And I remember, like, anytime Annie was screaming, she was up in the middle of the night, anything was wrong, I would go through that list. Oh, Dad was too loud.
Did we wake her up?
I think I woke her up.
Oh, she's only been asleep for like, it's been an hour. Do we want to see if she'll vibe?
Yeah. Well,
Alright.
I'll finish this thought, and then if we have to, we can pause.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, that would solve the problem. The other one was gas.
Input, output, thermals, gas.
So just knowing that small stuff, like, I could handle this. And so when she was crying, I wasn't freaking out. And the other bit of advice that was from Mac's uncle, small people, small problems. Big people, big problems. So the majority of the problems, like, most likely that you encounter with the child are small. So
like a blowout or like, you know, just like the surface level stuff.
Yeah.
Small problems.
She doesn't want to be in her car seat anymore. She
Small problem.
pooped on the couch. Yeah, throw it in the wash. And like that helped me stay relaxed
Yeah, and keep grounded in those moments that feel so overwhelming.
Yeah.
When it's just like, this is such a small issue.
It is.
We're moving on with the day.
Yeah, and I look back at it with such fondness. Oh my gosh, I want to pull up that picture. The first time she pooped all over you.
I'm not putting that picture in.
You don't have
No
to put
one
it in
wants
here.
to see
It
that.
was so funny.
She projectile pooped on me.
I just heard a scream from the other room. Like, what happened?
He
happened?
thought I dropped her. Like, I screamed.
Yeah.
The scream that I
she
screamed.
Honestly, I would have too. I mean, that.
All over the couch, all over me. Like, just, I never thought someone could projectile poop.
It was
like,
an massacre.
It's been some time later. Jack just put Annie down for a nap. I am toasting some bread for some sandwiches. Anyway. Oh, good call. I forgot we were having a crock pot. Jack's gonna put together the crock pot. Parenthood so far is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable and outside our comfort zone.
100%.
Because there's always a new stage that we've never encountered, and even when we have more kids, there will still be stages that we've never encountered because she will always be our oldest and always be going into more stages. And the other kids that we have will not be the exact same as her, so what worked for her might not work for them. So it's just being comfortable with the fact that we have no idea what the F is actually happening.
All of a sudden she's like grabbing stuff and going, oh.
Or reaching. Reaching is a new thing right now. And it's just like watching to make sure that she can't grab things that she shouldn't be grabbing. Did you want to touch on the fear buying?
So like naturally, there is a plethora, abundance of products to buy your baby. And like when you have a child for the first time, or I'm sure even when you have your second child for the child for the second time, you're like, just like, I need this. All of a sudden, this product exists, and they're telling me that I need it. So I probably need it. And so you end up buying all of these things. And then when you actually have your kid, you find out that they just like the cardboard that it came in.
Or they don't like the thing blatantly.
Yeah.
Like they just don't like it.
Or they don't like it yet. But we have like 3 different carriers. Mm-hmm. We have a swing. People were like so generous. We thought we needed all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. We bought a bunch of different things. And like she's starting to use different things. But at first, like, she had her go-tos. Slept on us. And then we put her in a carrier. And that was it.
That's it. It's not that I shame past Mac and Jack for thinking that we like needed all of this stuff. It's more so that I just wish that we waited until she was here to assess the non-necessities that we need at that time.
Yeah.
You know, as we need things, let's get them when she's here. The industry does take advantage of just like new parents and just like, you need this or you need that kind of thing.
Exactly. This is the solution that will work.
This
will prevent them from crying.
Exactly.
This is how they will not die in their crib. Because if you don't get this, they will die.
Literally like fear. Prey off the fear of new parents.
We do need that ninja though to steam all the food.
We definitely need the ninja to steam all the food for when she starts eating. We are still definitely falling victim to consumerism.
Yeah, it's no longer fear, it's just I want to.
It's just I want it.
Yeah.
Oh, this one. Phases are fleeting. And that is both a blessing and a curse. Because we could be in this phase of like, oh my gosh, she is the most adorable thing we've ever seen. Like, and she's doing all of these cute things. And oh, she is sleeping so well. And the thing is, that could be so fleeting. But on the flip side of it, if you're in a phase that is really, really tough, that is also fleeting. Literally, I remember her rolling over and starting to roll over in her bassinet. She gets so frustrated and I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna wake up every single time she rolls over and she's gonna wake up and it's gonna be the worst night's sleep ever. Literally, I'm not even kidding, like 20 minutes later she figured it out. Like 20 minutes later she figured it out. She was sleeping on her stomach and she has loved sleeping on her stomach ever since. And then for a longer phase, like a newborn phase, I look back at that and yes, I think a lot of it I forget because it was so foggy. In the grand scheme of things, it was so short. It was so hard, but it was so short. And now I understand how people do forget, or they're like, no, I could do that again. No problem. Like, it was so short and so quick, and now we're on to bigger and better and more fun things. So in the middle of it, when things are hard, or you're going through just a hard moment, it could be over within like the next day or the next week. It really is that fast.
Maybe over the next hour.
Literally the next hour could be different.
Don't be afraid to bring your child out in public. My take on that is, if your baby is crying, they're not thinking, oh my gosh, shut that kid up. Like, what a brat. It's a baby. Totally different than if they were like I don't know, a toddler that's throwing a tantrum because I can't get the fat fuck.
That's true. Like, that's a good perspective, and we learned that from my cousin. It's not the same thing. Like, keeping that in mind, if your baby starts crying in public, it's not the same thing as a bratty type of like 5-year-old that is throwing a fit because they can't have a toy.
Yeah.
You know, which that's its own developmental milestones and stuff in general that toddlers and young kids go through anyway. But if you're afraid of your baby crying out in public, and this is me telling myself still, it's just not the same thing, and people just don't think of it the same. That baby, because they're a baby, is going through a hard time, and it's totally okay. Babies are babying. All right, this one might ruffle some feathers, but I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. Coming from somebody who did not formally sleep train their baby, I personally do not judge anybody who ends up sleep training their baby. And after the sleep deprivation that was the newborn stage, I 1000% can understand why people would turn to sleep training their baby if their baby is still not sleeping more than 1 to 2 hours at a time by the time they're like 6 months old. 1000% understand those parents, and you will never see me judging them, ever.
Play devil's advocate. I am judging you so hard because obviously I deserve to judge you, and it's my business, and you should totally care about what I have to say about your baby.
Hot take. The people who judge other moms for doing things that are best for their family, I'm judging them. Those are the people I'm judging.
I'm a part of the Facebook groups. I'm in the Reddits. I know what I'm talking about. Judge, judge, judge. If you feel called out right now,
I'm judging you. This kind of goes along with that sentiment, but I have never felt more at peace or in the flow of new motherhood, new parenthood than when we were following our own intuition and gut versus feeling pressured to take advice that we find online or outside advice in general. Follow your own gut. Talk to each other. You have been with your baby their entire life. You know them literally better than anybody else on this planet. And when we just follow that intuition and follow that versus feeling pressures from outside or looking outside to get our advice from, that's when we feel most anxious. That's when I feel most anxious. I feel way more comfortable and confident when we just like take a minute, ground ourselves. How do we feel like we should approach this and go from there?
Yeah, I feel that. Single yourself out there. I think any parent feels this way. So when someone tells you how to specifically do something and it jives against what you're doing, it's easy to feel like you're doing it wrong.
Exactly, because like voices can just be so loud.
Look, if there was a one-stop right way to do something,
I'll be doing
this would be so boring. Yeah, I feel like the world would be at peace. Like there wouldn't be these Facebook groups, moms judging each other, or like
if there was one way to actually do something.
There wouldn't be like 50 million different car seats.
That's true.
Yeah, the 6-star, like there's gonna be parachutes. Watch, like I don't know, like why? Baby parachutes, they're gonna need it. On the receiving end too, like for me, I get pretty agitated when someone tells me yeah, you should. I don't like getting shit on. That doesn't feel good. I don't like being micromanaged.
That's exactly how it feels. Like in a corporate setting, like to compare it, it feels like you're being completely micromanaged by someone who thinks that they know how to do it better.
Kind of like on the receiving end of it, like listening and keeping it at an arm's distance.
That's a good point. We can't control if people are going to give unsolicited advice, whether it's in person, online, wherever. It's gonna happen. And the skill to hone has been taking what resonates and leaving what doesn't. Because there definitely are gems. There is so much advice that we follow from seeing things online or like hearing from other people in our lives, but there's a lot that we don't. And it really is just about taking what resonated with us and like what seemed helpful to incorporate into our lives and leaving what didn't.
I have more.
Yeah.
So we're in a really unique position because we get to work from home. It's very easy, and I made the mistake as soon as I returned from paternity leave to like just hop back into the mix of things.
Oh, that's a good point.
And so I want to be helpful. And in a work setting, you want to be seen as helpful too. I came back to work. I was like, oh yeah, like just taking calls left and right. But Mac and I were still trying to figure out Annie and her schedule and things like that. It interrupted that. Like, it didn't work. All of a sudden, like, I just started taking all of these calls and Mac was left with Annie. And, like, she's still recovering, too. And so, anyway, where I'm going with this is work is not the most important thing. Family is. Because we work remote, it can be done at any time and we have that flexibility. It's just that, like, family is the most important thing. So when something comes up, learning how to drop that, like, drop work, shift, focus to the family unit. And then just knowing that You don't have to stress about it. You can pick it up later.
Piggybacking off of that, in general, now having her, it puts so many different things about life like into perspective. Like before kids, you have this idea of like what is most important because you just don't have kids, you know? So, and it's not invalid. Like those things at that time are the most important thing in your life at that moment. But all of a sudden having her, it's been an interesting shift to now knowing that your family and her are the most important thing. And it's a shift that happens like immediately because all of a sudden she's born and she is the most important thing in your life. And trying to understand that and that that's okay has been an interesting transition.
Absolutely.
I remember when we both went back to work, it was really hard to like mentally disconnect from work, but wanting to at the same time because you want to and you are with her and it's amazing, but work was like the most important for so long. So that was just like a weird thing, priority of it. And knowing that your priorities have shifted and it's okay. That's something that I've learned, that priority shift is completely okay.
You kind of figure out how to date again. That's been pretty fun.
Yeah, like you have to set aside that time and like it's very intentional.
Because you want to, right? And like you have to actively make that effort for it. And so literally Wednesdays, Wednesdays have now become Wednesdays again, where after Annie goes down, Mac and I will watch Vanderpump Rules or whatever other trash TV we get our hands on.
One more thing that I thought about that I wanted to add while I was editing this vlog that I have found as a new mom. I found that there seemed to be this pressure that I definitely internalized, just a general pressure to jump back into things that we used to do pre-baby as like a thing that we needed to almost get back on the horse doing. I know that people talk about bouncing back as more of like a physical thing, like bouncing your body back, which we can just all agree that that's absolute bogus. But I also found that it applies to different areas of life, like taking the baby out to restaurants or going on your first date night without baby or letting somebody watch baby, which goes along with date night, but letting somebody else watch baby that isn't you or your partner. Baby sleeping in the bassinet all by themselves, like expecting them to just be able to do that, sleeping through the night. There just felt like there were all these expectations to dive back into life pre-baby as quickly as possible and expecting your baby to be more independent as quickly as possible, or at least the goal is to get them to be independent. And now on the other side of freshly postpartum and having a fresh newborn, I find that so strange. And that might be a hot take, but let me know if you agree down below. Babies are literally not meant to be independent. That's the whole point. Like they're not meant to be. And so putting pressure on myself to get her to nap in her bassinet, to exhibit more independent behaviors, I look back on that and I am glad that we got her, for example, to nap in her bassinet. It was very helpful and almost necessary because we were going back to work, even if we were working from home. But the pressure of feeling like she had to sleep in the bassinet when doing wearable naps was just working for us. I feel like if I didn't have that pressure, it would have been a lot more helpful. And looking back, I also left the house with the baby or got out way before I was personally comfortable with doing it. And that is something with our next baby that I will absolutely not be pressuring myself to do before I'm ready. There will be no pressure that I'm putting myself from external or internal sources to do things before I'm ready, or to put expectations on my baby to be more independent than they are ready to be as a newborn or as a young baby. Okay, that's all I got. As always, if you resonated with anything that we talked about in this video, make sure to comment that down below. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave if you haven't done so already. We upload videos like these every single week. And my Instagram is also linked down below in case you want to follow over there for more real-time updates. I love you all so much, and I will catch you in the next one, my friends. We'll see you later. Bye!